Just ask Giannis last night as they bow out. They bow out in historical fashion. Here's the question and Giannis's answer.
Do you view this season as a failure?
Oh my God! You asked me the same question last year, Eric. Do you get the promotion every year on your job? No, right? So every year you work is a failure. Yes or no? No. Every year you work towards something, towards a goal, right? Which is to get a promotion, to be able to take care of your family, to be able, provide the house for them or take care of your parents. You work towards a goal. It's not a failure. It's steps to success. Michael Jordan played 15 years, won 6 championships. The other 9 years was a failure? That's what you're telling me? No, I'm asking you a question. Yes or no?
I don't think so.
Okay, exactly. So why you asking me that question? It's a wrong question. There's no failure in sports.
There's disappointment. I think when you say failure, it has a different context to it. It feels heavier. It feels more pointed. How disappointed are you? You know, he's playing with a bad back. He put up, 38 and 20? It's a disappointment. Did you fail? History won't be kind to you, but they won't pile on like they would other franchises. If this happened to LeBron, then it would be a terrible failure. But I think the media loves Giannis. We love this story. And what's not to love? He's a wonderful player. It's a wonderful story. He's won a championship, MVP, and he put up 38 and 20 in a closeout game. But I love the answer. Because he could come back and say, I'm not talking, or be angry at the reporter. I think he's trying to let the reporter understand how Giannis is viewing this. Michael Jordan, did he fail in those seasons when he didn't win a title? No. Come up short? Yes. Disappointment? Yes. He was injured for a couple of games, and they ran into Jimmy Butler. And you got to give Jimmy Butler credit. Because he feels like a champion. Jimmy Butler hasn't won a title. They lost Tyler Hero, Victor Oladipo, and I'm thinking the Heat, this sets the stage for the Bucks to come back from 3-1. That's the feeling I had. But Jimmy Butler, in the last 2 games, has scored 98 points. The last time you had somebody have that many points over a 2-game span in the playoffs, well, it hasn't happened except for Michael Jordan since the NBA-ABA merger. So you're going back a long way. You're going back 50 years. This has never happened other than when Jordan did it.
Stat of the day. Here comes that stat of the day.
I'm going to go back to the question for Giannis after the loss to the Miami Heat. And play the question, Marv, and then we'll talk about Giannis's response.
Do you view this season as a failure?
Okay. I think it's a fair question. I think it's a question that's been asked many, many times after something like this, where you get eliminated. How disappointed? Is it a failure? Giannis's answer is something different, because he could say, no, it wasn't a failure, and then move on. Or he could say, yeah, it's a failure, and move on. And we wouldn't be discussing this. But when you start to bring in, Michael Jordan played 15 years and he won 6 titles. Did he fail those other 9 years? Did the writer fail? Does he fail each year if he doesn't get promoted or win an award? It was just, I think failure to Giannis is different than most players, because he came over from another country and a mid-first-round draft pick, started out slow, didn't know if he could play. Could he shoot? At the free throw line, he couldn't quite pull the trigger. I mean, there was a lot of things where you're going, all right, the guy seems interesting. We didn't even know how to pronounce his name. For the first 5 years, it felt like we called him the Greek Freak, and then all of a sudden it's like, you got to learn his name because he's one of the great players in the game. And I think we like him. I think we generally like him and like his story. He wants to be great. He had 38 and 20 in a game that they lost. I think he wanted to take that last shot, but Butler made the right move. He guessed correctly. Then you pass it up. That's where you find out how great teammates are sometimes, or even a player. Because during the regular season, you're like, man, that guy's putting up triple doubles. I always want to see when the game's on the line. And I always go back to UNLV. UNLV had one of the greatest seasons of all time. Larry Johnson, Stacey Augmon. And they were blowing out teams. And I kept thinking, how will they perform when they need to make a play? They never got tested. No games were close. And then against Duke, they had to make a play. And I don't even know if they got a shot off. Because you're just so used to, there's no tension there. There's no pressure there. There's no clutch there. They were just great. And then all of a sudden, Duke checkmated them, and then they didn't get a shot off in time. And that's what happens sometimes. These teams that just breeze through. Number 1 seed, hey, nothing to worry about here. We're playing the Heat. Oh, we're not worried about the Heat. Oh, they lost Tyler Hero. They lost Victor Oladipo. And then all of a sudden, you're waiting for those other players. Game on the line. Chris Middleton. Help a brother out. Help Giannis out. Take the shot. Get a shot. Your season shouldn't come down to Grayson Allen driving down the lane and not even getting the shot off. Coaching was poor last night. Call a timeout. Didn't call a timeout. Had a timeout. You're at home. Favored by double digits. Embarrassing. Disappointing. But to ask Giannis if it's a failure, his definition is going to be different than most athletes.